What if your home, your beautiful, hard earned home, has quietly stopped being your greatest asset and has started becoming your most expensive drain? Not because you did anything wrong, not because owning a home is bad, and certainly not because your memories don't matter, but because life changes and the role your home plays changes with it. Today, I want you to look outside the brick and mortar box and take an entirely new approach to right sizing that aligns your living space with purpose, freedom, health span, and the legacy you want to leave. And to be clear, this episode is not a sell your house episode. This is a stop letting your house decide your future episode. Because what I've noticed for a lot of people in their last Go Strong years, the house quietly becomes the boss. It begins to tell us what we can and can't do. It dictates what we can afford. It dictates how much time we have and what we can say yes to. It determines our stress levels. It dictates whether you can travel, help a grandkid take that class, or whether you're able to invest in your health. It keeps you patching drywall, replacing appliances, paying a higher and higher insurance premium. You know the drill. So I want to tackle a major misconception today. A misconception that we have about our homes. This illusion that more home means more legacy. I want to talk about why your forever home can actually shrink your legacy and leave your family with a burden instead of a blessing. Culturally, we've been sold the story that a bigger house equals bigger success. Bigger house equals bigger legacy, right? Makes sense emotionally. Home just feels like safety and security, a symbol of having made it. It's the American dream in a container for our family history all rolled into one. But legacy isn't found in your square footage, is it? Legacy is what your life produces for you, for the people you love, for the causes you care about. And here's where the home as a legacy illusion sneaks in. We tend to think of a house as something we own, but a house is also something that owns a piece of you every single year. And not metaphorically, literally. There's even a rule of thumb used by major housing and finance sources to estimate what we typically spend on maintenance and repairs every year. That rule of thumb is 1% to 4% of our home's value. So if your home is worth, say, $800,000, you're looking to spend anywhere from $8,000 to $32,000 every year just to keep it functioning and updated over time. A new home is going to be closer to the low end of that range, while an older home is closer to the higher end. And that's before we even talk about the usual expenses like insurance, and property taxes, utilities, landscaping, that sort of thing. Now, I want you to hold that number in your head so that you can take an honest look at the opportunity cost that upkeep represents. Because every dollar that disappears into your house is a dollar that can't fund things like your strength and fitness training to keep you independent, experiences that create memories, helping your family, charitable giving, or just the financial peace of mind that comes from having sufficient cash reserves. It's why I like to say wealth isn't just the assets you own, it's the freedom you enjoy every single day. Now, fortunately, I think we're finally starting to see the bigger is better approach start to wane in our culture. New home sizes have been shrinking from their peak over the last decade, and many people are beginning to question whether more space actually delivers a better life. So when you're thinking about legacy, I don't want you to ask, how much is my home worth? I want you to ask, what is my home costing me in money and time and stress and physical wear and tear? Because that's the cost that most people tend to forget to factor in. In fact, I think we need to redefine what's truly an asset in our next act. An asset isn't just something that appreciates. It's something that helps you live the life you want with far less friction. So if your home requires more energy than it gives back, you have to ask, is it really an asset? And by energy, I mean literal physical energy. If you're climbing stairs all day, carrying laundry, hauling groceries, managing maintenance, hiring handymen, shoveling, trimming, fixing, patching, then I want you to ask, how much is that energy output draining you? Because physiologically, chronic stress and chronic burden are not neutral. When your environment is constantly demanding, it's going to age you faster, isn't it? And it's also much harder to be consistent with good health habits, the health habits that actually improve long term quality of life, things like exercise and nutrition, sleep, social connection, preventive health care. So your asset isn't just the property, it's really the lifestyle that it supports. Unfortunately, too many people get stuck in a home that stops supporting and starts hindering healthy lifestyle. But let's shift gears and talk about the part of legacy that I think we tend to avoid: inheritance. Most people imagine leaving the house to the kids as a gift. And sometimes it absolutely is, but sometimes it's a gift that shows up wrapped in a ton of work and a pile of emotional landmines. Often, what heirs really inherit are three frustrations. First, they inherit a major project. If you haven't already experienced this with your own parents, you probably know someone who has. You've seen what happens when maintenance gets deferred for years, when systems get old and stuff accumulates for decades. When people stay put for 20 or more years and never right size, they tend to pass on a massive amount of documents and books and electronics and holiday decor and photos and you name it. And older homes always need upgrades to sell or repairs to rent. I'm sure you know what happens then. The family's forced to manage contractors and dumpsters, and usually at the same time they're grieving. It's not ideal, to say the least. The second thing they inherit are drawn out timelines. Even if there's a lot of equity in the home, the process can be slow and heavy, especially if the estate is complex. There are many people involved or the house isn't market ready. Third, they often inherit conflict, not because anyone is bad, but because people are stressed and because different family members often have different emotional relationships to the home, different financial needs, and different willingness to do the work. Truth is, sometimes the better legacy you leave isn't a bigger house. It's a cleaner, simplified estate, one that involves less work, less uncertainty, and is less likely to stir up resentment. When you order your life in a way that says, I love you enough to make this easier on you, that is an awesome gift. So if you take nothing else from this episode, please hear this. Your legacy isn't what you leave behind. It's right sizing your life today, being fully present, and continuing to create lasting memories. Okay, so what are your options? Obviously, there's no one size fits all approach. The right option is going to depend on your ultimate goals and your specific situation. Option one, you can right size and invest the difference. That's the classic: sell the high maintenance home and buy something smaller or simpler, and redirect the difference into your stock portfolio or travel or grandkid experiences, philanthropy, or just simply cash reserves. The win here isn't just pocketing home equity, though. It's the added bonus of reducing your ongoing expenses and energy drains. Option two, you could relocate strategically. And I don't mean just move somewhere cheaper, although that could be part of it. I mean relocating to improve your proximity to healthcare, to a supportive community, to be closer to friends and family, and for better home fit so you can thrive in place. Option three is you keep the home, but you make it pay you back. Maybe you have a spare bedroom, a basement, or ADU that you can rent out. If so, I would say make it a rental unit. There are so many people looking for affordable housing these days, and you just might be the solution they're looking for. For the right person, I think it's a wonderful way to turn a passive asset into an income stream that's going to fund experiences and reduce anxiety. You might even find someone who's willing to take on the yard work or other minor home maintenance in exchange for reduced rent. It can be a win-win when you find the right fit. Option four is a reverse mortgage. For some retirees, a home equity conversion mortgage can take the equity that's locked up in that home and create cash flow for much more stress-free thriving in place. While it can reduce what equity in the home is left for heirs when you die, it can also allow you to leave an even better legacy. Why? Because again, legacy isn't just about assets. It's about who you are while you are here. If you're mentally and emotionally more present for your loved ones in your final years because you're not worrying about paying the bills, isn't that a gift? If you're creating memories with grandkids, isn't that a much better legacy than just leaving behind a little more equity in your home when you die? I'd say so. Option five, simply sell earlier than you think so you can control the story. I think this one is highly underrated. Many people don't choose to move proactively. They get forced into an urgent move after a fall or an illness, a spouse's death, or when memory decline dictates. Selling earlier before you're forced to means you get more options. You get to enjoy making a more relaxed, unpressured decision. It allows you to design your next act lifestyle intentionally and make it an unhurried move on your own terms. When the move isn't rushed or reactionary, you're less likely to make a move that you regret, and you're more likely to thrive rather than just survive throughout the transition. That's not just good financial strategy, that's a wonderful health span strategy. Now, I don't want to discount the fact that sometimes the option is just to stay exactly where you are. If your home checks these four boxes, then staying put may be ideal. First box, it's safe and accessible or can be made accessible. Second, you're connected to neighbors, friends, community nearby. Third, it's financially sustainable without much burden or energy drain. Fourth, you have the support system for long term home and health upkeep. If your home checks all those boxes, you may be able to thrive in place. The key question you want to answer is my home helping me become the person I want to be in my next act? Or is it quietly dragging me down? If it's aligned, it's going to create energy. If it's misaligned, it's going to consume energy. That's the difference. But here's a few more questions I want you to consider. They'll help you think about what makes sense for you. Question one, if all that home equity you built up over the years was suddenly in your bank account, what would you do with it? Not what would you buy, what would you fund? For example, would you use it to fund your health, travel, education, family support, charity, entrepreneurship, a fund for caregiving? Question two, what do you want your family and friends to remember you for? Your living room or your life? That one's easy. Question three, what is your house costing you annually in maintenance and repairs, utilities, and so forth? And then if you redirected even half of that into your body, your relationships, your purpose, how would that change your life? Bottom line, your home is absolutely a part of your legacy, but not for the reasons you think. It's not because it's big and impressive and paid off. It's not because it's full of stuff. It becomes legacy when it funds freedom and reduces burden, supports health span, and helps you live on purpose and stay present for loved ones. Legacy isn't what you leave behind. It is what you are today. Not someday, but with the choices you are making right now in your Go Strong years. And look, if you want a quick way to assess whether that home is supporting the legacy you want, I did create a 3-minute right-sizing scorecard that you can find in the show notes. If you download that, it's going to give you a simple way to assess whether your home checks all those boxes we just talked about, or if you need to start thinking about right-sizing. No matter what, ninjas, please remember that your home is not your legacy. You are. Until next time, my friends, live well, love more, age less.